Hi, welcome to 12.1 Day 1 Examples. Here's your problem of the day. As always, we are going to split our problem in half, and I need to get x alone on one side. Now, there is an x on either side of my equation, so what we like to do is make a zero pair with the smaller variable. Is negative 1x bigger or smaller than 8 x's? It is negative 1. Negative 1 is smaller than 8, a positive 8. So I'm going to make a zero pair with that negative x, and I'm going to put a positive x. Those cancel out. Plus x. Then I'm left with 9 equals 9x plus 72. Okay, now I have a better idea. Okay, so let's get rid of that negative 72, the constant near the variable. So I'm going to minus 72. That was almost a 2. 72 minus 72. Okay, so then these cancel out. I am left with 9x, and now a 9. Now I have a positive 9 minus 72. So my answer is not going to be positive. And actually, they're different signs, so I'm going to subtract them. 72 minus 9 actually gets me 63. And keep the sign of the bigger number, which is 72. So it's a minus, negative 63. Last step, I'm going to divide by 9. Divide by 9. These 9s go away. 63 divided by 9 gets me 7. But there's a negative divided by a positive is still going to be a negative, so it'll be negative 7. Final answer. Okay, here's your turn. You're going to be once again finding the error. What is wrong? What is wrong with this problem? There is one problem. There's one mistake, but that one mistake ruins the rest of the problem. So please find that one mistake, correct everything, and find the correct answer for this problem. Okay, welcome back. Hopefully you guys saw this was the problem. They had a negative x and they subtracted x. I would have got them negative 2x. I wouldn't have actually got rid of it. So most of you saw this and you guys put plus x on both sides. So let's go and fix the rest of this. So so this cancels out. Instead of 4x, it'll be 6x. Then they subtracted 30 from both sides. That's still fine. They still get negative 24. Instead of dividing by 4, they should have divided by 6 everywhere. 6 everywhere. And 24 divided by 6 is actually get us a negative 24 is actually get us 4. What happened? Why can't I draw? 4. So final answer, negative 4. Good job. Hopefully this is getting easier. I am very excited today for today's stuff. We are doing the Pythagorean Theorem. Pythagorean Theorem is pretty fun. You just, like we've been doing, you get the measurements, you plug them into a formula and solve for the missing variable. We are reintroducing squares. Remember squares? Like 4 squared? 4 squared is 4 times 4. So we just got those. So the formula for Pythagorean theorem, it's a very famous formula. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So we're going to be doing some practice today of where are these letters? Which ones are they on these triangles? And you will be practicing where to find those on Nearpod today. So for my video, I'm going to show you where these are. So A and B squared, these are the legs of a triangle. C is our different one. This is the hypotenuse. Don't know if I spelled it right. That's okay. It looks like a mess anyway. Hypotenuse. That's supposed to be an S. Hypotenuse. So this side is C. And this is either one. It doesn't matter. This one, I'm just going to go left to right. This is A. And this is B. It doesn't really matter which one's A or B, just the legs. So the hypotenuse is always the longest side. Hypotenuse is the longest side, and the legs are the two shorter sides. I shouldn't have picked red and pink. They look really close. They're the two shorter sides. The hypotenuse is always the longest one, and that one's always going to be C, and then the legs are either going to be A or B. And then we're just going to plug these numbers into our formula all the time. This is a formula that's never going to go away. It is definitely a formula you will just memorize and keep with you for the rest of your math career. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So I figured out which one's a, b, c. Let's plug them in. So instead of a, I'm going to put 24 because I made a 24. So I'm going to do 24 squared plus b squared, which is 7. So plus 7 squared equals c squared. And we don't know what c is. So it's actually going to be, we're just going to leave it as c squared. And now we just solve for c. Now c is already alone by itself on this side. So now we're going to solve these guys. Okay, so let's solve them. So to get these, so 24 squared is really 24 times 24. So in the calculator, handy dandy calculator. That showed up on the wrong screen. There we go. We got 24. Oh, it's a scientific calculator. This is the calculator on your computer. You could do 24, and then I believe there's a squared button. Second power. That can't be 24. Oh, I guess so. 24 times 24 is 576. Let's test that out. I'm gonna clear it. 24 times 24 equals 576. There we go. So 576. 576 plus 7 times 7, that's 49, equals c squared. Okay, so now we're going to combine these. So I'm going to use, again, my handy dandy calculator. 576 plus 49 gets a 625. So I get 625 equals c squared. Okay, we're not done. This is the last step, and it might be a little bit new. We need to get this square off the C because we like our letters to be all by themselves. We don't want any numbers attached to it. So to get rid of things, we've always done the opposite. If it's multiplying, we divide. If it's adding, we subtract. We always do the opposite. So the opposite of a power of 2 or a squared is called a square root. They look like this. So we're going to take the square root, and what that does, it literally is just going to cancel out that 2. It's going to be gone. But whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. So we'd take the square root of 625. And so that's going to leave us with c over here, and then we're going to get the answer over here. So we're going to do the square root of 625. So you take the calculator, and you're going to need a scientific calculator. So I think you can probably type that into Google. If I go to Google, type in maybe scientific. I also think I put this on your, yeah, here you go. I also put this on your, on Teams. You guys have a scientific calculator as a little tab on Teams. So you guys can click that and have a scientific calculator on Teams through Desmos. This is just on Google. Type in scientific calculator, and we are going to type in, what did I say, 625? 625. So 625, and then this button, it looks like a weird check mark. Oh wait, I guess we have to do it first. So let's clear it off. Square root 625. Oh, come on. 25 equals 25. So what happens when you take the square root of something is it finds the number that if you multiply that number times itself will get you that big number. So 25 25 times 25 should get us 625. Boom, look at that. So let's go back to our work. So our answer is 25. Done. So the length of this triangle is 25, which makes sense because it is bigger, not by much, but it's bigger than both the legs. So 25 is bigger than 24, and 25 is also bigger than 7. Not together, but separately, it is bigger. If this number was smaller than these two, then you definitely did it wrong, and because your hypotenuse is always going to be bigger, no matter what, than both these sides. Not combined, but separately. Okay, I think we have time to do one more. Don't think there's anything hiding over here. Okay, we're going to do this one. So this one's a little different because we have the hypotenuse. So remember, the hypotenuse is always the longer side. So let's label these A, B, C. Remember, what's our formula? Yeah, A squared plus B squared, yeah, equals C squared. Beautiful. So we're going to plug these in. Remember, it doesn't matter which of these are A or B. If you really want, watch, I can switch these around. Doesn't matter. So let's do, this one's A, this one's B. Okay? Okay, so let's plug them in. So I don't know, I do know what A is. A is 12. So I'm going to do, instead of A, it's going to be 12 squared plus B squared. Do I know what B is? There's nothing here. Since there's nothing here, we don't know what it is, so it's still going to stay B squared equals C squared. What is C? 15. So I'm going to do 15 squared. Okay, now we're going to solve for the missing length. We're going to solve for B squared. So first, let's multiply these out. 12 times 12. 12 times 12. 144. Plus B squared equals 15 times 15. 15 times 15. 225. Okay, now I gotta get these two numbers together. So I need to get the 144 away from that B squared. So I'm gonna subtract 144 from both sides. Okay, now I'm left with B squared equals 225 minus 144. 225 minus 144 equals 81. Now, remember I told you to do what the square root does, it tries to find one number that if you multiply it to itself will get you that number. So I had a light bulb in my head. I think I know what the square root is. It's the square root of 81 is, but just for the sake of it, let's do square root. That gets rid of that 2 up there, so we are going to be left with B equals the square root of 81. So we're going to go back to our scientific calculator, and we are going to do the square root of 81 equals 9. If you thought 9, like, yeah, Ms. Abbott, I know 9 times 9 got me 81, then you wouldn't have had to put in the calculator. So that is 9. Great job. So our B over here is 9 centimeters. And there you have it, folks. That is Pythagorean Theorem. This formula is life. Make sure you remember it, and memorize it, write it down somewhere. I'm sure it's on the top of your homework and it's everywhere for you to find. It's also in this video. Just fill in the missing pieces and solve for the missing letter. All right, till next time. See you later.